Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a yoga session all about the wrists, wrist health. So one of the biggest complaints of people when they start yoga, but even people who have been doing yoga for years, is that their wrists hurt, right? When they are bearing weight on their wrists hurt. That can be for a lot of different reasons, right? So you could have wrist pain because of an actual injury, right? Maybe overuse or falling hard and, injuring your wrist. You could also have some sort of inflammation, right? You could have carpal tunnel, or you could have arthritis, or a variety of other kind of issues. Or it could just be that, like any other body part, it is sore, right? If you were to go and do a really heavy leg day, later that day, your legs would probably feel wobbly and weak, and the next day you would probably be sore, right? Same thing with your wrist. It's like any other body part, right? You have to build up strength. So we are going to do a class all about wrist health. We'll do some inflammation treatment. We will do some strengthening, and we will do some stretching out, right? Because it's also a variety of those things that helps us kind of prepare our wrists. Okay, so the only thing that you will need is some sort of ball, right? You can use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball or even a golf ball, whatever. And honestly, even if you don't have that, you could use your thumb. Okay, so first thing that we're going to start with is myofascial release, right? We're going to treat the probable inflammation, right? We all have inflammation in our body. And so we are going to work to treat some of that inflammation. So I'm going to do this kneeling. If that's not so comfortable, you could lay on your belly and do this, right? Whatever works for you. But we're just going to bring the left forearm down to the mat. The left palm is down. Okay. And then you're going to take the ball and you're just going to massage the forearm, right? So I like to start up near the elbow, and you're going to kind of press, maybe take a few circles, and then move around. So finding and rolling and seeing where, because you will find an area where it feels extra tender, right? I have yet to meet somebody who has no inflammation and tenderness in their forearm. Right, and so a lot of times problems in the wrist are actually caused by or made worse by inflammation further up the arm. So this is a good place to start if we're looking to kind of maybe reduce some pain. So if you find an area that is extra tender, just take a moment, press into it, take a big breath in, and then breath out. And then you can start to work all the way down towards the wrist. So I personally don't get much sensation when I go towards the wrist. And so if that is the case for you, then you don't really have to spend too much time there, right? Don't waste your time on something that you don't need to. Okay, so then you're just going to roll around near the elbow. Okay, and then you can even work your way in towards the inside of the arm as well. Okay, so we'll just spend a little bit of time here. All right, and so if you are getting a lot of sensation, a lot of feeling here, you could always pause the video and spend a little bit more time. But I'm going to move on to the other arm, right? So we'll just switch sides. That right forearm will come down. Know if you have to change your position, right? If how you're sitting is not so comfortable, you can certainly switch things up a bit. Otherwise, that right arm will come down, palm down on the mat. And again, you're just kind of testing the waters. You're going to roll around a few spots and see where it might be tender. When you find that tender spot, sit and press and breathe, or kind of find a little bit of a rocking motion over that area. Try not to just move all your tension into like your jaw. All right, so moving around, you could go all the way up towards the forearm. Ooh, and when you find that good spot, just hang out there for a moment, right? Take a big breath in, breath out. And if we can kind of reduce a little bit and treat a little bit of the inflammation in our forearms, it is likely that we can kind of loosen everything up and give the wrist a little bit of relief. All right, one more big breath in, breath out, and then let's rise up. You don't need that ball anymore. Okay, so we will now move on to a mixture of strengthening and stretching of the wrist, right? So the wrists aren't really a joint that is intended to take a lot of weight, right? But like anything else, we can build up strength, right? So we're gonna come to our tabletop position. So our wrists are underneath shoulders, knees are underneath of hips. And then we're just gonna find a circular motion with the torso, right? So we're gonna take the torso out in circles over the fingertips. And know that if already this is an awful lot, walk the knees in. You can bring them honestly right up to the heel of the hand. And then you're just taking less of the weight into the hands and a little bit more into the knees. So switch directions if you haven't already. Just a few more times in this direction. And then you can tuck the toes under, come up to kneeling, and then just interlace your fingers so you make this one big fist. And then find this figure 8 kind of pattern. So you can do this and any other variety of kind of shaking out the wrist for a moment. Stress, right? Stress, putting stress on a joint or on a bone or anything like that is going to stimulate what are called osteoclasts. Right, no, osteoblasts, sorry. Osteoblasts. So osteoblasts actually stimulate production of more bone, right? And so give your hands a shake. And so the more stress that you put on a bone or on a joint or something like that, the more that you are going to build bone, right? And you're going to build support, right? So it's kind of like that old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? The more that we stress and fatigue, the more that we work this area, our joints, the more that we are going to stimulate bone formation, and we're going to then also strengthen that area as well. So, okay, here we go. So we're back in our tabletop position. And now this time we're going to lean forward out over the fingertips. And then we'll send our hips back towards our heels. The heel of the hand will stay down. Lift your fingertips off of the ground, right? Probably feel a lot going on in the wrist right here. Okay, so then we'll lean forward. And then we'll come back lifting the fingers up. One more time, lean forward. Come back. This time we're going to find these pulses. So we're going to lift the fingertips up, and then we're going to do it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lean forward one more time. And then just come back, tuck the toes under, send the hips back, and then again, just kind of open and close the hands a few times. Okay. So from here, we're going to extend the right arm out to the side, out in front of us, and then we're going to bring the fingertips down, palm facing forward. Then just take the left fingertips, and we're going to bring them to the right fingertips, right? And then from here, we're not just pulling back, we're also pressing the right fingertips forward, right? So we're engaging in both directions. Okay, so then a lot going on in the forearms, a lot going on the wrists. Take a big breath in, breath out. And now switch so that the back of the hand is facing forward. And then again, your fingertips are wide. You're gonna bring the left hands to the back of the hand, but more onto the fingertips than anything. And again, you're gonna pull back, but while you're kind of pressing the fingertips forward. You don't have to probably pull very much here. Take a big breath in, breath out. Relax, shake it out. We'll do that on the other side. So right arm, or left arm rather, reaches forward, and then the fingertips will point down, palm facing out. Right fingertips come to left fingertips, and then we'll pull back while we press the left fingertips forward. Take one more big breath in, breath out. And then we'll just swap so that now the back of the hand faces forward. Right hand comes to the back of that left hand, and then pull back on the fingertips, but while you press the fingertips forward. Right, and so I'm showing you a lot of different options for warming up your wrist, for strengthening your wrist. Like, you could just pick a few, 2, 3 different things, and do that before you do weight bearing. Release the hands, shake everything out, come back to that tabletop position. And then let's talk a little bit about where you hold your weight, right? So a big part of wrist problems is that we tend to hold our weight on the outside of our hands, right? And that's not true for everybody. So maybe you hold it right there in the thumb, and that's okay. So you've got your radius side, right? Your radius is the thumb, right? And there's a big joint there. That joint allows you to take a little bit more weight before it starts feeling a lot of pressure. On your pinky, your ulna side, that is where you have a lot of cartilage and soft tissue. And so that is where you're gonna generate a little bit more pain if you're leaning or pressing a lot of the weight into the outside of your hands, right? So come to tabletop position and see if you can notice which one you might be, right? Where you might be holding some of your weight. And then see if you can press your thumb down and your pointer finger down into the mat, right? Take some of the weight into the knuckles of those fingers, right? So the knuckles right here. So take that kind of L shape or J shape, maybe, whatever, and then press that into the ground. Take some of the weight there, right? And feel how that kind of lights up the whole inner seam of your arm. Okay, take a big breath in, breath out. Okay, so then just noticing, right? Okay, so from here, just a few last things. We are going to bring the back of our hands down onto the mat with our fingers facing each other, right? So the back of the hands comes onto the ground. Then from here, see if you can make a fist. So it's not gonna be easy to make a fist. In fact, you might have to kind of take a little bit of the weight off of the hands to do that. But we'll make a fist, the thumb curls in two. Big stretch on that wrist. Okay, take a big breath in. And then on your breath out, bend your elbows out to the side, leaning down. All right, then press into the back of the hands, lifting up, and then lowering back down. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and then 1 more time, pressing up. Hold it here. Open the fingers, close them into a fist. Open the fingers, close it into a fist, and then slowly ease off, shake things out. Okay, so from here we go. We've got one last thing, and it's going to be, again, a strengthening move. So you can certainly have your knees up closer to your hands if that is going to be a little bit more helpful. We're just going to see if we can lift up onto the fingertips. So we're kind of doing fingertip push-ups, and then lower the heel of the hand back down. So we're just going to do that a few times. Lift up onto the fingertips, and then lowering down. Right, so really see if you can use the strength of your fingertips here to press yourself up, right? And this is a game changer, right? Being able to engage the hand in a way that you can lighten the weight on the wrist is a game changer. So let's do 2 more. 1 more. And then just relax. You can find a seat however you would like to, just a little bit of decompression time. So we're gonna take the left hand, the thumb and maybe all the fingers or the pointer finger, and we're just going to find our wrist kind of joint on the outsides here. And we're going to see if we can squeeze that and find a little bit of separation, right? You might be able to feel the separation of the wrist here. So then regardless, even if you don't necessarily feel all that separation, you're gonna grab on nice and tight to that right wrist, and you're just gonna see if you can maybe yes and no it, right? Kind of nod the fist, and then maybe take it in little circles. So you shouldn't be reproducing pain here, right? So you shouldn't be feeling pain. If you are, back off a little bit, right? None of these exercises should reproduce the pain. If it does, back off, find a different exercise that works. All right, let's just switch sides. So that right hand reaches over, grabs on, find a little bit of separation. So maybe shake out that hand, find that little bit of separation in the wrist, and then maybe make that fist, or not, you don't really have to make the fist, but you can just kind of find that movement for the wrist. Maybe take it in circles. All right, shake it all out. Okay, so remember, when it comes to the wrist, you can treat the inflammation, right? You can find myofascial release, kind of just rubbing around in the area where you're feeling tense, just a nice little massage. And then you also need to strengthen and you need to stretch out, right? If you don't have the flexibility to get your hand to that kind of 90-degree angle, then you're gonna experience a little pain. So you've gotta work on the flexibility, the strengthening, and then hopefully I've given you at least a few tools that you can use as a warm-up to your yoga or any other weight-bearing exercise. See you next time.